Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Um, let's ask ourselves a question because a lot of people have been debating this. Should Nick Ball have been disqualified against TJ Doheny for kicking Doheny after the bell at the end of, was it the second round? I think it was the second round, wasn't it? Okay, first of all, the referee would have been absolutely within his right to disqualify Ball. So why didn't he? Well, if you look at the incident, Doheny, after the bell had gone, Doheny was in his own corner and he had Nick Ball in a headlock and he wouldn't let him go. I mean, there were a few seconds, 3 seconds that passed maybe, where Ball was trying to pull himself out. Doheny wouldn't let him go and was therefore fouling him. He could have had points taken off himself for that. Could he have been disqualified for that? Nah, not really. I mean, it would have been, but he could have had a couple of points taken off him. And that's when finally, I think the referee was involved. Ball sort of wriggled free of the headlock. And then with the referee at his back to Ball, Ball kicked Doheny. And Doheny hit the floor like he'd been shot. Okay, maybe putting it on. Well, probably putting it on. But I don't think the referee saw the kick. So we have to factor that in. Now, if Doheny hadn't had Ball in a headlock and the bell had gone and Ball had just kicked him, I would say that's a straight up disqualification. Straight up disqualification. And even if the referee hadn't seen it, one of the board officials who they sit ringside should have told him and he should have disqualified him. And they've got, video evidence and all this sort of stuff now, haven't they? They can look at monitors between rounds. Straight up disqualification for kicking a guy. But because there was the indiscretion with Doheny, clearly, he didn't want to let Ball go. He had him in a headlock. He was winding him up. I think that was the factor that meant that at the start of the third round, the referee, not having seen the kick, but he was aware something had happened, he pulled the fighters together and told them to both cut it out, knock it on the head. All right. In fact, later on in the fight, he would deduct a point from Ball for I think it was roughhousing, punching on the break. While I can understand people saying yes, Ball should have been disqualified for the kick, I can understand the referee thinking, okay, this is, Doheny was walking around, he was fine, he sort of shook his leg a bit, the one that had been kicked, and then he carried on. The referee, I can understand why the referee pulled them together and said, look, cut the bullshit out. Behave like professionals. This is a fight. This is a boxing match. You're meant to be professionals, behave like it. Rather than creating further controversy, which, if Ball had been thrown out, people would have said, well, what about Doheny? What about what he was doing to Ball? It was just frustration on Ball's behalf. And someone else would have come back and said, yes, but you can't be frustrated. You can't get frustrated in a boxing ring. It's not right. You've got to remain professional at all times, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fair enough. I'm ambivalent about this. And to be honest with you, I think probably it was the right decision by the referee to just read them both the riot act and then let the fight continue. That was probably the most sensible thing to do. Because if Doheny had been seriously injured, if Ball had, crunched his knee and busted his cruciate ligament or whatever, yeah, okay, that's clearly a disqualification. But it was a kick, out of frustration, not a serious kick. And of course, Doheny could have injured Ball's neck by having him in the headlock. You could argue that. The referee did not see the kick. So even though he probably knew about it, he was told about it. But when you add it all together, I think it was probably the right decision to let the fight continue and to reach its natural conclusion. And like I say, the referee, it's not like he favoured Ball. He took a point off him later on in the fight. He spoke to him on several occasions before that. And I think when all is said and done, we ended up with the right fight. And from a viewing perspective, of course, this shouldn't override the rules, but from a viewing perspective, we saw, a pretty decent fight. It was a pretty good performance by Ball. Doheny showed incredible courage. He left the ring with his head held high. I said in the previous video that Doheny hadn't been a world champion. In fact, he has been. He's IBF champ, Super Bantam champ, and he won it in Japan. And for whatever reason, I mean, I must have seen that fight, but either it's old age or I just watched so much boxing I forget. But Doheny fought like a champion, even though he lost that fight, the fight against Ball. And Ball, all 5'2" of him, they're now talking about putting him in with Inoue. I'd love to see that fight, yeah. Is featherweight a weight too far for Inoue? I don't know. We will see. But I thought this was I think the way things panned out is probably for the best for everyone, because Doheny gave Doheny a chance to show what he was made of, bags and bags of guts and heart. It gave Ball a deserved win, and now he can look forward to possibly fighting Inoue, or maybe unifications, a rematch with Ray Vargas, for example. But I think it all ended up okay. So I don't know whether you agree with me. If you do, well, if you do or you don't, leave your comments below. I want to read them, and let me know what you think. Yeah, and thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, you could subscribe. That would be great, because it costs you nothing and you're helping us out. And also, if you did like the video, hit the like button as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you're having a good weekend. Enjoy your Sunday, and bye for now.